Greetings, folks. Are you ready to let out all the darkness you have bottled inside? The sight of seeing someone happy causes you to sit uncontrollably. Do you send this type of messages to your friends?
Why do you always forget about me? You never care about me. You never do anything, you never share posts or anything. You don't even tag me anymore in your videos because I keep disliking them. You're such a piece of.
Well, this build is right for you. Master the art of summoning your undead hordes, but with no lame wands or feeble spells. Instead, be ready to bonk your enemies until they are dust. Because we do hit almost as hard as a pure warrior, and with 35% mitigation from Stone Skin and 25% of max health from Red Death, plus a lot of life leech, we really are quite tanky. Moreover, don't like two-handed, just switch the weapon, put points in a different melee tree. It doesn't matter, none of the gear here is mandatory. In this video, I will go through the endgame, new plus gear, the location of all the items, the perks, and the attributes. Now, let's begin. Okay, let's look at our gear. We are free to do pretty much whatever we want, as long as we meet certain threshold. And one of them is gonna be our critical strike, and the other one is gonna be mana for our summon. Let's start with our melee weapon. For Act 1 and early Act 2, and even early Act 3, depends on you. I would suggest Ulfur Ceremonial Axe. You get this one in Act 1. By following through the main story, you will get a choice at the Old Mother's Temple camp. Choose the blacksmith, and when you need to craft, and make 2 copies, one for the quest and one to keep for yourself. The other 2 clearly superior option. One is gonna be the Taigwiz axe. This one comes from doing the Stone Warden tribe questline, and you pretty much get this one to get the Stone Warden support to enter the King's Retreat. The main advantage is that if your critical chance is not 100, the first hit, which is gonna be the most important, is gonna be a guaranteed crit. The other option is the Hefty Spear. You get this one in Act 3 when you kill all the 3 duelists. Then you enter the hidden instance and you can then get your spear. For our summon, this is a Death Knight, so I played most of the game with Undead, Skeleton Knights, and Skeleton Army in Act 1. However, you should not be limited, you can use what you want. We have a lot of options summon-wise. Thanks to Invocation of Might, our summons will not die immediately as soon as an enemy touches them, so that is good. For support, since this is an hybrid build, we can afford to use spells that otherwise a warrior cannot use. For example, Stone Skin, which will give 35% mitigation to damage, which is quite high, all things considered. Or for example, you can even use Weight Bound or Divine Grace if you need to heal yourself, which should not be needed. Okay, for Helmet, I'm gonna suggest Sir Gawain. Before you use Sir Gawain, you can literally use whatever you want. You can use Duelist from Act 1, anything. It's not important. Sir Gawain, however, is quite important because it will give us 25% crit when we are at high health, and with our life leech, we will be at high health all the time. When you're struggling in some situation, just use food. For relics, you can use what you want. Stamina regeneration, incoming healing, max health. For gloves, I would suggest Hexed Vambraces because we stack a lot of spirituality and we convert some of that spirituality in physical damage. This is from Act 2, after you're done with the main story there. Otherwise, before that or even after, if you do not have access to the Vambrace, Dual Knight Gloves is an excellent choice. It also comes pretty early, so that's good. For chest, 2 options again. Doublet of the Last Jest. The incoming healing doesn't matter because of our life leech. However, if you do not like to use it or you don't want to use it or whatever, Sir Gawain, before you get Sir Gawain, any melee chest will be fine. You can even use a mana chest if you're struggling with your minions, because you will have the spirituality to use it while leveling in Act 2. For back item, I would suggest to craft Winged Cavalier backplate. The recipe is located here. You need to do a couple of quests to get it. It's not too hard. If you do not want to craft Winged Cavalier, you will need to adjust your crit. Otherwise, you can use Dual Knight Cape from Abigor. The stamina regeneration is kinda nice, however, it will give you less crit. For Amulet, several options. Stone Warden Talisman from the Blacksmith questline. Otherwise, any amulet that gives you a lot of mana will make managing that summon cost easier. Amulet of the Novice Ogre Hunter is also an option. This one comes from Act 2, from the Ogre, located here. For pants, either a pair of mana pants. If you want, you can even use Tainted Priestess pants that will give you 20% mana, or Dual Knight Trouser. This is from the second duelist in Act 2, or you can use Fledgling Breeches if you did the Children of Morrigan questline. The good thing about this build is that the gear is different, so I don't have to do a section. Oh guys, how do you lock the cross set again? Wow, amazing. Fledgling is good to give you some crit. Boots, you can use the crow boots if you want. Otherwise, since we are a spirituality build, the Ordered Warden will give you a lot of critical damage, so they're good. Last but not least, the rings. Here you have a wide selection. You can go with Reduced Conjuration. You get this one in Act 2 alongside the Hexed Vambraces, same location. If you're playing New Game Plus, just slap another one if you want. Didn't get yet to the point of getting this ring. Just get the mana ring from the tavern in Act 1. Critical strike rings, because you will deal more damage than your summons anyway, so you want that critical strike up. Without critical strike up, the build doesn't feel good. Okay, let's look at our stats. The most important two stats in this build, one is gonna be spirituality, and the other one is gonna be perception. Perception can be tailored depending on how many critical strikes items are you using. However, I would still advise to at least put 10 points in perception. Without stacking spirituality, our summon do not survive in higher level. So spirituality is the only way that we can scale our summon. The only drawback of spirituality is that every point that we put in spirituality will raise the cost of our summon. So we need to be able to have enough mana. Okay, fine. How do I level this thing? You have two choices. You can play as a pure summoner and put points toward melee later. You can play a full mage. You can play as a pure warrior in the early to mid Act 1. My suggestion is gonna be 6 points in spirituality, 6 points in endurance, 6 points in strength. And with this, you can literally use all the warrior and mage gear from Act 1, at least most of it. Afterward, 10, 10, 10. Then we go back here. We're gonna put 10 points in perception. If you're planning to use certain items with dexterity requirement, you will put dexterity now. Otherwise, I would suggest to put dexterity a little later. Then we're gonna go to finish buffing our main stats, and afterward pump everything you have in spirituality. Okay, let's quickly go through our skill tree. You can level up in Act 1 this build as a pure melee, as a pure mage, it doesn't matter. I will give you my suggestion for points, and if you want to play with a weapon that is not two-handed, you can just switch out the tree. The melee section is very personalizable. You can even look at my Battle Mage build for an idea for a one-handed setup or two-handed setup. We start in spirituality. 1 point in Summoner Battery, 3 points in Prepared Ritual, 1 point in Power Conduct, Invocation of Might. In Strength, Godly Physique, Weapon of the Great Theft. In two-handed, Brutish Fighter, Mighty Blow. Then we take Executioner. Then we go in Practicality, 1 point in Born in Armor, 1 point in Inner Strength, 1 point in Armor Skin, 1 point in the Best Offense. Then we go back in spirituality for more mana. Mana battery needs to be maxed. Then we go back here. Astral Bond maxed. Summoner battery maxed. Worthy Sacrifice. All the line. Feeding Frenzy. We go back in strength. Fury without fatigue. Enduring Strike for Life Leech. Unstoppable Force. 1 point in Unstoppable Impact. Dominating Presence. 2 points in Invigorating Energy. Then we go in Perception. Extra Lucky. Critical Cascade. 1 point in Respite and Cruelty, 2 points in Deep Wounds, then we go in Practicality, Exploitation of Affliction. If you already unlocked Red Death, put 3 points in Plague Warden for more sustain. This will save your life. If you didn't unlock Red Death yet, just do it when you have it. Go back in Perception, Critical Age is maxed, Bloodthirst, go for the eyes, then Respite and Cruelty needs to be maxed. Then in Dexterity, these are optional points you can put, I like early in Act 1, but you don't have to. These will pretty much allow you to have the ability to slide time. And especially when you're weaker, these will save your life a lot, especially against enemies that have very high damage skills. 3 points in Increased Vitality. We go back in Practicality, max the Best Offense, maxed Born in Armor. Then in Red Death, again, Red Death these points can be taken earlier if you want to be more offensive. This is raw damage. 1 point Crying Pain, 1 point in Grief tie enemy, whip success 3, then Long Regret, max Crying Pain, Give in and Give Up, dealing damage, generate extra stacks, hold back tears. If you are using Hexed gloves, put 1 more point in Power Conduit. If you are not using those gloves, then only 1 point, because we really do not benefit from the spell power if you do not convert it in physical. Then for extra point, we go in Practicality and Healthy Appetite, Revengeful Restoration. And this is the skill tree for you. Now I will go through the items and how to get them, so stay tuned.
Seeing this message, it means Caradog.
Oi, Noel! What if I pulled Excalibur from that stone, but it broke, but only at the tip? Oi, Noel! What if I pulled Excalibur from that stone? Oi, Noel! What if I pulled Excalibur from that stone, but it broke? Oi, Noel! What if I pulled Excalibur from that stone, but it broke, but only at the tip? Would I still get to be king, or not?
You're so dumb.
Oi, Noel! What if I pulled Excalibur from that stone, but it broke, but only at the tip? Would I still get to be king, or not?
You're so dumb.
If you're seeing this message, it means... My king. My king. I understand.
Disturb my peace. Don't let your guard down.
Well, thank you for watching. Shilling times will begin. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and maybe consider subscribing for more gaming content, of which quality I cannot promise exactly the degree. If you have any question or doubts, let me know in the comments. I will do my best to get back at you in a reasonable amount of time. Have fun playing Tainted Grail, and I will see you in the next video.